Good evening and welcome to NTD UK News. I'm Stuart Lees and here are today's top stories. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the UK will stick to its lockdown easy plan despite concerns over the vaccine supply. The UK's medicines regulator says the benefits of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine outweigh any potential side effects. And official figures show more than half of England's employees travelled into work last week. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Thursday the UK will stick to the roadmap despite the delayed vaccines from India.
The Prime Minister is holding firm to the roadmap.
So there is no change to the next steps of the roadmap. We've now vaccinated over 25 million people across our entire United Kingdom, more than the entire population of many countries.
Britain's to slow its COVID-19 vaccine rollout next month. A supply crunch caused a delay in a shipment from India. Millions of AstraZeneca shots are on hold as a further 1.7 million doses are in need of retesting.
There is a delay, as I've described, as there is very frequently in vaccine rollout programmes. But this is, believe me, by no means the end of the story of the UK's relationship with the Serum Institute of India.
Johnson also said people should not be worried about the European Union's threat. It said it may ban exports of COVID-19 vaccines to Britain to safeguard scarce doses for itself. Health officials have warned that the UK's vaccine programme would face a significant reduction in supplies from the end of this month.
The UK has seen a relatively small number of cases of the South African variant of the CCP virus. Infection rates are rising in a number of European countries, largely due to the spread of the Kent variant. But according to Professor Neil Ferguson from Imperial College London, a small but growing percentage of these cases are of the South African variant. Ferguson said the UK cannot keep it at bay forever, but the longer, the more time we will have to update our vaccines. And in other news, the UK medicines regulator and the Prime Minister affirmed their faith in the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The regulator said its benefits still outweighed any potential side effects.
The UK's medicines regulator stands behind the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. This comes after 5 reported cases in the UK of a rare brain blood clot, or CVSD, following vaccination. One of them fatal. The head of the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, or MHRA, said on Thursday, given the extremely rare rate of occurrence of these CVST events among the 11 million people vaccinated, and as a link to the vaccine is unproven, the benefits of the vaccine in preventing COVID-19, with its associated risk of hospitalization and death, continue to outweigh the risks of potential side effects. She added, blood clots are not occurring at a high rate in vaccinated people than in the general population. On the same day, the EU equivalent, the European Medicines Agency, confirmed the vaccine is safe and effective. Several European countries, including Germany, had paused the use of AstraZeneca vaccine following reports of blood clots. Now they're lifting the suspension. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Thursday,
the Oxford jab is safe and the Pfizer jab is safe. The thing that isn't safe is catching COVID, which is why it's so important that we all get our jabs as soon as our turn comes.
He added he would receive an AstraZeneca jab on Friday. As a precaution, the UK regulator is advising anyone with a headache longer than 4 days following vaccination to seek medical attention. The MHRA says it is continuing to investigate the cases.
The Bank of England says it's going to keep a hold on monetary policy. That's because it says the economic rebound is ahead of schedule. The Times reported that 10-year gilt yields rose to 0.9%. That's after the central bank said economic activity had been positive since last month. The bank expects inflation to swiftly return to the target of 2%, but doesn't expect a surge in prices. The 9 members of the Monetary Policy Committee voted unanimously to hold rates at 0.1% and also to leave quantitative easing unchanged. And in other news, the government is looking to reform judicial review process. It aims to protect judges from being drawn into politics.
Justice Secretary Robert Buckland announced plans to change how government decisions are challenged in the courts. He says the move is to strike the right balance between citizens' rights and the need for effective government. It will look at the result of an independent review led by the independent peer Lord Falks QC. The review found a growing tendency in the courts of becoming more willing to review the merits of the decisions themselves, instead of the way in which those decisions were made. Buckland says the reform will preserve the integrity of judicial review for its intended purpose, to hold the government to account, apply the intent of Parliament, and protect individuals. In recent years, some high-profile judicial reviews drew lots of attention. Remain campaigner Gina Miller challenged the government's rights to start the Brexit process. The Supreme Court ruled in her favour.
The BBC said it will relocate some of its key departments and staff outside London in what it calls its biggest transformation in decades. Its plan includes having news programmes like Newsnight presented from different UK bases through the year. The BBC will produce most TV programmes not in London and invest more in local reporting and apprenticeships. The goal is to better reflect all parts of the UK. And in other news, as England begins to come out of lockdown, official figures show more than half of the country's employees travelled into work at least once last week. Here's NTD's Jane Worrell with the details.
There are quite a lot of perks to working from home, like wearing comfy trousers or pyjama bottoms. But official figures show a small increase in the number of people going back to the office for some of the week. The Office for National Statistics says that 53% of people in England commuted to their workplace at least once in the week beginning the 14th of March, an increase of 5% from the previous week. This includes people who combine working from home and in the office.
From my point of view, it's the best combination. I wouldn't really be comfortable working full-time from home because you'd lose that interaction with the team members.
But I'm definitely appreciating even just travelling on the train and, the simple things that just took for granted before. I enjoy working from home as well, but definitely commuting it feels like there's that little sense of normality.
In home, oh my God, it's very boring. Yeah, about that I like work in office.
As expected, there appears to be a shift to permanent remote working. The UK's largest newspaper publisher just announcing that most of its staff will work from home even after the pandemic ends. And British Airways saying they'll consider selling its headquarters near Heathrow because of a switch to remote working. Right now, official advice is for people to continue to work from home if possible. There's definitely an appetite to keep it that way.
I don't have to think about putting my makeup on. I don't have to think about my clothes. I can just do my work in my pajamas. Like, who's going to know that I'm wearing, PJs? No one's not going to know, So literally, only one shirt, wear that for 5 times a week. Who's going to know? Who's going to care? No one. But if you're coming in, you're constantly having to change your clothes all the time, making sure that you don't wear the same outfit 10 times. It's stressful.
Even though people are starting to commute again, our habits might be here for the long term. Jane Worrell, NTD News, London.
The BBC is facing criticism after 2 TV presenters mocked Minister Robert Jenrick for having a union flag in his office. The exchange took place on a BBC breakfast show as Jenrick was interviewed via video call. Jenrick responded on Twitter calling the union flag a symbol of liberty and freedom that binds the whole country together. Veteran former BBC journalist Andrew Neil wrote, "Sometimes the BBC forgets what the first B stands for." The BBC said the presenters' comments were not meant to offend. And in other news, France has imposed a new month-long lockdown on Paris and parts of the north. French Prime Minister Jean Castex is calling it a third wave.
As hospitals run out of intensive care beds, France has been forced to put Paris and other northern regions into a fresh lockdown. All non-essential shops will be closed, travel between regions will be banned, and forms needed to justify leaving home. Schools, however, will remain open, and limited outdoor exercise is permitted. The new measures, which will last a month, mark a hardening of the nightly curfew that's been in place since mid-December. When announcing the restrictions, Prime Minister Jean Castex warned the country was in the grip of a third wave.
The virus has been accelerating for 15 days now. The pressure on hospital systems has increased for a week. The time has come to face the consequences. This means that the measures we are taking today in the most impacted regions could be extended, if necessary, to other areas.
There are currently more COVID patients in intensive care in Paris than at the peak of the second wave. France recorded 35,000 new cases on Thursday, with the highly contagious UK variant making up about 75% of new infections. President Emmanuel Macron had previously resisted calls for another nationwide lockdown, wishing to protect the economy, but was forced to change course owing to the new variant and a faltering vaccine rollout. This week, France and other European countries briefly suspended the use of the AstraZeneca Oxford University vaccine. France is due to resume administering doses on Friday.
The government wants to connect 1 million hard-to-reach homes and businesses to next-generation broadband, the first phase of a £5 billion infrastructure project called Project Gigabyte. The goal is to reach a minimum of 85% gigabyte-capable coverage by 2025. The government is also investing in the relaunch of the Gigabyte Broadband Voucher Scheme for those in rural areas struggling with slow broadband speeds. Currently, the UK has about 40% coverage. Coming up, Volkswagen is ramping up its battery development and its CEO has eyes on Tesla. That and more when we return. For the first time in 30 years, the EU is putting new sanctions on Communist China. This is in response to the regime's human rights abuses. Countries' ambassadors to the EU agreed to ban 4 Chinese officials from entering the EU and to freeze their assets. A Chinese entity is also sanctioned, but their names are not yet public. EU foreign ministers will have to formally approve it on Monday. The move signifies a hardening stance on the communist regime. It's the EU's first sanctions against Beijing since the arms embargo following the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989. US-based journalism non-profit Project Veritas has published another undercover video of Facebook's global planning executive. In this one, he says he thinks the company helped sway the 2020 US election.
In hidden camera footage, a top Facebook lead says he thinks the company's voter registration drive swayed the election in favor of President Biden. Global planning lead Benny Thomas said Facebook helped register 4.5 million new voters.
And these are the kind of things, this is the good side of Facebook. This is the kind of thing that you can only do with a company that has the sheer scale and reach of Facebook.
He said even the media praised the company for its work keeping other countries out of the election.
And you know, most media does not praise Facebook. So when they praise Facebook, you know that we've actually done something.
An undercover reporter for journalism nonprofit Project Veritas secretly recorded the conversation earlier this year.
Wow, registering 4.5 million voters.
That's a lot. We made a big difference.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we won that way.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Exactly. I think so too.
Project Veritas published the video on Tuesday. He said he thinks Facebook needs to be broken up.
A new feature is appearing at locations across the US, a brightly lit Bitcoin ATM where customers can buy or sell digital currency and sometimes extract hard cash.
New York City bodegas are already famous for consumers being able to buy just about anything, anytime, day or night. And now, Bitcoins are added to the list. Bitcoin ATMs are popping up in the city and around the country in corner stores, delis, gas stations, and other easy access consumer outlets. Fueled by a frenzy in crypto trading, that recently sent Bitcoin prices to a record high above $60,000 a pop. New York City deli owner Gamal Yaha doesn't even understand what Bitcoin is, but he does understand what it means for his bottom line.
It's bringing a lot of people to the store, more people come into the store, people use the Bitcoin, they buy some stuff too from the store, and bring more business. So it's very good for the business.
Kiosk operators like CoinFlip and CoinCloud have installed thousands of Bitcoin ATMs, and executives say they are scouting out other spots in areas where their competitors have yet to reach. Chris Yim is CEO and co-founder of Liberty X, which provides the software for Bitcoin ATMs. He says his product is helping to bring the complex world of Bitcoin to the masses.
So when you look at traditional financial services, it's really hard to get people to switch because it's all about trust. And most of the online exchanges today, you have to link your bank account, you have to enter all your information and do a wire or bank transfer, and that's just too much friction. So what we found is actually that a lot of these local delis, convenience stores, they actually have the best locations because they are centerpieces of their neighborhood, so they made very natural partners for us to go that extra and last mile.
Users can buy or sell Bitcoins or a fraction using the ATM and send Bitcoins abroad, all with anonymity. But it comes at a much steeper price than cash and a traditional ATM. Fees can range from 6% to 20% of a total transaction, according to cryptocurrency compliance firm CipherTrace. Government agencies say that raises red flags, and there is concern about the potential for illicit activity. But that may not stop a Bitcoin ATM from popping up at a store near you. As of January, there were more than 28,000 Bitcoin ATMs in the United States, according to independent research site HowManyBitcoinATMs.com. More than 1/3 of those were put in place just the last 5 months alone.
Green policies are hotting up the market for electric vehicles, and Volkswagen wants to overtake Tesla. The German automaker is ramping up battery production, but soaring lithium prices and low supply could slow down their plans. NTD's Phil Zhou reports.
Volkswagen CEO says he wants to get close and then overtake Tesla. The German automaker is going full speed ahead with electric vehicles to do it.
We are once again stepping up the pace of our electrification offensive and pursuing our ambitions. By 2030, our electric vehicles will account for at least 70% of our sales in Europe and 50% of our sales in North America and China.
And they're going at it without Tesla's help.
Battery cell competence, we believe, is something that we need to also grow within the company. We do not necessarily need to partner up with other car makers to collaborate.
But electric vehicles are hampered by a shortage of lithium, a crucial battery component. One lithium producer says this improves the overall investment environment.
One of the key factors in the increase in lithium and spodumene prices really has been the fact that most lithium raw material supply is tied up in long-term contracts.
There'll be problems with getting enough lithium for major electrification efforts all over the world. Mining new sources is no simple matter.
It is concerning. The average time between discovering a lithium deposit and being able to bring it into production is somewhere around 8 to 12 years. So you just can't really whistle up new production of lithium overnight.
On the other hand, limited lithium supply forces innovation.
Higher efficiency means you can have fewer battery cells and a smaller overall pack capacity and still have the range to go just as far. Efficiency right now is the key metric. How much range can you get out of each kilowatt hour of battery cell that you have?
There are currently no easy alternatives for lithium.
A lot of work going on in solid state batteries. There's a lot of work going on in low lithium type research, but it's a long time to get from the lab into production.
China is by far the largest electric vehicle market, with the EU being comparable if taken as a single block. The US is a distant third. Phil Zhou, NTD News.
The All England Lawn Tennis Club announces the Wimbledon Championships will go ahead this year, but the famous ticket queue will not operate and the number of fans will be reduced.
Last year, Wimbledon was cancelled due to the pandemic, the first time since World War II. This year, the All England Lawn Tennis Club hopes to welcome fans back. Its statement says the most likely outcome for this year's championships as an outdoor venue is a reduced number of spectators within the grounds. But fans can't line up for tickets at the site because of likely social distancing requirements. Normally, fans wait in line for tickets released on the day. Some even camp overnight to snap up tickets, a well-known part of Wimbledon tradition. This year, the Lawn Tennis Association will hold a ticket ballot instead. It will provide an online platform for ticket sales in June. Those who bought tickets through the public ballot last year, but then had them refunded when it was cancelled, will be able to replace them for the same day and court in next year's event instead. AELTC Chairman Ian Hewitt says he is cautiously optimistic about the return to normality, and he hopes the championships will play an exciting role in the move toward that. He added, the AELTC remains humbled and heartened by the passion for Wimbledon shown by fans worldwide. For the tennis players, they will be required to stay at official hotels to minimize the risk of spreading the virus.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stuart Lees.